Churchville. I am here to show you how to draw a perfectly symmetrical butterfly. So to start this project, we're actually going to be folding our piece of paper in half. And we want our butterfly to fill this whole page, so it's important that the long side of the paper is facing your belly. That way its wings can stretch out as large as we can make it. So I'm just gonna take my paper, make the edges meet, crease it really good with my finger in the middle, and then I'm going to open my paper back up. In order to do this correctly, I'm only gonna use my pencil to draw half of a butterfly. So a butterfly's head is usually shaped like a circle, so I'm going to be drawing a half circle. And when I start drawing it, I'm going to make my lines come in and out that crease side. We gotta make the body of the butterfly as well, and it's made up of two parts, like an abdomen and a thorax, that are kind of ovally shaped. And then the thorax comes down and comes to kind of like a point, almost like you're drawing half of a long stretched out triangle. Now remember, the wings are completely up to you. We looked at all those different shapes of wings. They could be rounded, they could be squared off, they could be fancy edges. It is completely up to you. The top wing is going to try to stretch out as far as I can make it, as close to that edge as possible, and then I'm going to bring it back to the center of the body. The bottom wing might be overlapped by the top wing a little bit, so I might start my line, imaginary, drawing it, and then when I get to the end, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna draw my butterfly so it has one of those like fancy tail loops that comes back and then goes back to my butterfly's body. Add my little antenna. Remember, I only need to draw one because the other half is going to print. Now it's all about those details. I can make the inside of this butterfly's wings look however I want. Maybe I want to divide it so that there's an outer section. Some of them have this outline of black around them. And then maybe I want to put some polka dots inside of that section and have those wing segments that are just lines breaking up the spaces, kind of like a leaf a little bit, maybe with some stripes. I've seen some butterflies that have circle spots to ward off predators, so I'm gonna do some of that. And then because this is an artsy butterfly, maybe I just wanna make fun things. Maybe I wanna put a heart shape in there, surrounded by a funky line. Because you know what, it's my piece. I can make it look however I want. And I'll just do some dots down inside of here. When you are done drawing the butterfly, you are then going to take a black crayon or a black pastel. The pastel will work better than a crayon, and you're just gonna trace over everything. So you're gonna push nice and hard. Remember, that's what we call burnishing with that black pastel. Trying very hard, if you need to turn your paper to make it a little bit easier, to trace everything that is pencil. Be careful that you don't run your hands across something you've already traced, because you can smear it and smudge it. Try your best to go on your lines, but if you go outside the lines of what you drew because your details are too small, it's not the end of the world. Your goal is to try to make that as dark as you possibly can. Going around those important shapes first, and since I made a mistake there, I'm gonna pretend like that mistake did not happen, because the cool thing is once I trace over it and paint over this the next time, no one's ever gonna know that that mistake ever happened except for me. We don't have to worry about going back in and erasing, because we're just gonna be putting the color right on top of this next time. So once I have everything traced, the magic part, I'm gonna take my paper, fold it back in half. You can actually see, if I press this together, you can kind of see my butterfly, but I'm gonna use the edge of my pencil, and just like I did, I'm gonna rub these two sides together. I'm gonna make sure that I am pushing hard with my pencil as I am rubbing. And I'm gonna rub all over, make sure I get the edges, get down here. Make sure that I'm pushing these two papers together, kind of making a paper sandwich. Rubbing real hard, and when I pull this apart, I'm gonna have a perfectly symmetrical butterfly, because the pastel transfers to the other side. Then the last step is to just finish tracing to make it look just as dark. You can see that things that were curved up on one side are now curved down. Things that look to the left, it is a perfect mirror reflection. And all I have left to do is to try to trace it. And all of my shapes and stripes and things are the exact copy of what was on the other side of the wings. I'm just gonna finish tracing this and we'll see how I end this off.